My name is Chris Arnold, and on behalf of the Bob and Alicia Woodrick Diversity Learning Center, we're happy to have you here today for today's Salute to Women recognition. We hope that you've had an opportunity to participate in one of our many activities and workshops that we've been hosting throughout the month in honor of Women's History Month, as well as all year round. And I'd like to just take a moment to thank our Women's History Month Planning Committee for their time and efforts in making this a great event. First, Jennifer Smith. Jennifer, thank you. And Kathleen Owens and Naira Salmon, who is our student assistant, for all their help with putting this program together this afternoon. And I'd just like to take a moment also to acknowledge any of the previous award recipients. If you're standing or if you're not standing, stand and just raise your hand. We'd like to acknowledge our past recipients. Helen Keller once said, "Many persons have an idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose." Here in this room today, we will see the evidence of worthy purpose. The women who will be introduced to you this afternoon are to be honored because they have achieved and pursued worthwhile goals, dedicating themselves to social justice and working for the well-being of others. And now I would like to introduce Ms. Cynthia Springer, our Vice President of Organizational Development, who will extend to you a welcome.
Good afternoon. It is certainly my pleasure to welcome you here today for GRCC's annual Salute to Women's program. And I'd like to start by acknowledging the staff of the Bob and Alicia Woodrick Diversity Learning Center. Chris Arnold, who you just heard from, is our director of our Diversity Learning Center, and she has a very small team, but that team is more than dedicated and loyal, and they're very talented. And so this program is put on by the Diversity Learning Center under her leadership, and I just wanted to say thanks to Chris and have you acknowledge her. As you can see from the participation, we had a great turnout, so it's an honor to welcome you here to GRCC. Is it perhaps a wonderful sign of our times that we can actually celebrate our women today? These women are courageous. They have achieved amazing distinction. And Women's History Month is set aside as a time to honor and to recognize and to celebrate these women, and especially their contribution as part of Grand Rapids Community College, and that contribution that they've made to our institutions and also to the communities near and far. This afternoon, we will meet 4 women. We will have the privilege of celebrating these 4 women because of their distinction. And through our Salute to Women's Award here at GRCC, we celebrate the women's accomplishments, and they represent all of the women, past and present. This special day was instituted in 1999 through GRCC's commemoration of Women's History Month, and we select women that exemplify leadership, self-sacrifice, along with personal and professional excellence. Their stories make us proud. And you're going to hear some stories today that celebrate the women and what they've accomplished, and also to acknowledge them as part of our community. The president of Grand Rapids Community College will come up here, and he will present each recipient with a beautiful crystal vase. And in addition to the vase, each of the 2008 recipients will have a contribution made to our Grand Rapids Community College Foundation in their name, and we have a scholarship for the Salute to Women's program with our foundation. And you will hear more about that foundation program in a few moments from our executive director of the program. And so thank you for being here today and helping us to celebrate the women and their accomplishments. And please welcome Dr. Juan Oliveras up to present the awards.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here. This is a very special occasion, and we are honored by your presence. It is said that women who behave never make history. So today, in a way, we are honoring misbehaving women. For surely these women have made history, each in their own way. The women that we honor today did not wait for others to clear the way. They were not content with the status quo and did not shrug and accept the way it was. They were not content to watch. They were moved to contribute, to influence, to help, and to empathize. They are leaders, each contributing through their individual gifts and passions to the well-being of others. It is always an honor for me to introduce to you the recipients of the GRCC Salute to Women Awards. Let me remind you of the objectives of this award and the criteria used for the selection. The objective is to honor GRCC women who are exemplary in their roles as professionals, volunteers, and agents of change. We celebrate the diversity and accomplishments and hope to encourage young women to pursue pathways to achievement. The criteria illustrates a commitment to community service, demonstrated achievement, leadership, empowerment of others, and positive impact on our students. Again, it gives me great pleasure to introduce these women to you that reflect the distinction and quality of all of the GRCC women. Our first recipient is Liz Timmer. Would you come up, Liz? Liz is selected to receive the GRCC Employee Award. Liz, in so many ways, sits as the center of the GRCC circle. She is loyal to the college and to her colleagues. Her concerns are, and her decisions are, never independent of benefit to the college. 3 different directors of the Learning Academy in as many years did not faze Liz. She welcomed each and continued to contribute and manage and move forward. Her nominator wrote, "No one has ever walked through the Academy doors that Liz didn't attend to their needs with a sense of urgency rooted in her belief that everyone should be treated with dignity and respect." Liz also finds time to volunteer beyond her college community. For 4 years, she volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House and regularly for the Gus Macker basketball tournament fundraiser for the Grand Rapids Public Schools. As you may have read in Liz's biography, she intends to build a program for GRCC faculty and staff that will be independent of individuals and will be sustained after she is no longer active with the college. And hopefully that's many years from now. This is indicative of her unselfish contribution to the health of the college now and for the future. I congratulate you, Liz, one of our recipients of the Salute to Women Award, Liz Timmer, a woman of courage and integrity. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you, Juan. Cynthia. I asked when I was told that I would be here that if I was supposed to say something, and they said, well, that's up to you. So I've been working on something because there's people that I need to thank who have been with me on my journey here today. I've been privileged to work with a lot of outstanding people over the last 30 years, which, by the way, I will mark this Thursday as that was the first day I reported to work at Lincoln School. which was the county-based program for the training mentally impaired. And I worked there for 8.5 years. And I had the opportunity to work with a fabulous principal, and her name was Patsy Fox. And she wasn't able to be here today, but I did want to acknowledge her because she did help me get to where I am today. I've also had the privilege of working with several men who have helped me in my journey here today. One of them is Rich Austin, and Rich and I are a lot alike, which made things interesting in the office because we both had strong opinions about how things should have been done. And one of our former student workers told us one day that we sounded like her parents bickering, and that was pretty common when Rich was here. The other man that has had a great influence on me is Mike Schuler. Now, Mike and I, we have totally different styles. We are on opposite ends of the spectrum. And what they said about opposites attracting, not so much with me and Mike in the beginning. But Mike didn't give up. He was determined to build a strong working relationship between the two of us. And boy, I'll be darned if he didn't do it. And right up until the day he left to take a new position, I continued to learn and get confidence in my leadership ability under Mike's tutelage. And over the years, there have been many colleagues that I've worked with. They're too numerous to thank individually, but just all know you who I have worked with, that you have a special place in my heart. I practiced this several times because I was not going to get emotional about all of this. Now, I just want to take a moment. I need to thank some people who are outside of my work world who also went on this journey with me. And I have a very special friend, and she showed me courage when all I knew was fear. And her name is Lorna Van Til. She answered my ad for a babysitter 30 years ago, and she has been in my life ever since. She was a widow with 5 children, and I was a newly divorced, well, a very unexpected newly divorced person with a toddler and a new baby. And we found we had a lot in common in our situations. And it was through Lorna knowing that we needed to branch out and not just go to work and take care of the kids. And so she pushed me, and we did things that I would have never normally done because out of fear. And Lorna's courage at doing this always amazed me. So thanks, Lorna, for taking me along with you. My journey really began when I was a child to where I am now. And I can pretty much pinpoint that. I was 11 years old, and it was 1963. And I attended 6th grade for about 6 weeks when the decision was made that I needed to have surgery to correct my severe scoliosis. The plan was to have the surgery, be in a body cast for 6 weeks, and then life as usual. The plan didn't go quite as expected. I ended up staying in St. Mary's Hospital for 3 months and then in Mary Free Bed for 6 months to learn how to deal with my new world. At the time of my surgery, my sisters were all younger than I am. I was the oldest of 4 girls. Sue was 9, Jane was 8, and Grace was 5. My parents would come to visit me, but my sisters couldn't because that was back in the day when they didn't let kids into the hospital. But over the last 40 years since I've been in my chair, my sisters have been there for me whenever I needed. When they heard I was receiving this award, they didn't hesitate. Even before I asked, they said that they would be here. Jane came from Phoenix. Sue came from the UP. And Grace took the day off from her job in Plainville and drove up to be here. These are my sisters, and I stand in awe of them. And they are all truly wonderful women. I also want to thank my daughter, Lisa, and my son, Paul. They've never known me any other way than in my chair, and they had expectations placed on them growing up that most kids didn't. But we stuck together, and we got through it, and they're wonderful kids, and they've given me 3 terrific grandchildren. 2 of them are here, Anthony, who is 9, and Emmy, who is 7, and then we have Charlie, who's 2.5. So I'm a really lucky mother and grandmother to have them in my life. My final thank you is my most important one. It goes to my parents. My father would be very proud today. He passed away 11 years ago, just this past Sunday. But he taught me perseverance, and his spirit is with me every day. To him, my chair was just an inconvenience. It was something that you didn't let stop you. And as a child, it was hard for me when I first got my chair because people would stare. But my dad, he gave me a 3-step plan. He said when people would stare at me, that I should smile at them at first. And then if they kept staring, I would say hi or wave to them. And then if they continued to stare, then I would stick my tongue out at them. I never had to go to step 3. Step 1 and 2 usually took care of it. A couple of weeks ago, I got a new chair. In the past, they've always been black or a dark color. My daughter went with me, and she picked out this color. It's candy red this time. But I agreed to it because of my mother. Over the years, she's been my role model, though she probably doesn't know it. The example she set for all of us was unbelievable. She had a lot happen in her life. She lost her mother at a very young age. She had to quit school when she was 16, and she went to work in a factory repairing shoelaces for $52 a week to support herself and her mother and her father and her grandmother. And she got to keep $52 of the 52, and the rest went to support the family. She left everyone in Rhode Island and came to Michigan when she married my dad. She had polio when my sister Jane was born and was in isolation for 6 weeks and had to learn how to walk all over again. And then I had my surgery, and then she had to take care of me when I came home from the hospital. And I can tell you this, it was no picnic because I was a brat. Things haven't changed a whole lot, have they, Mom? Yeah. And she's still helping us now. She's been there for every celebration and every crisis. And she picks up my grandson, her great-grandson, every day from daycare to help us out. So it's because of my mother. And what she showed me is how to accept my life and to celebrate that life. So because of her and her spirit, I have a new red chair. Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Liz. That was a wonderful story. You are truly courageous. And I've known Liz for many, many years, both with the Grand Rapids Public Schools and here at the college, and it's been a privilege to work with you, Liz. Thank you. Now, our next recipient. And it's wonderful for me to welcome back and to introduce to you Dr. Melinda Prince Sapp. Would you come on up, Melinda? Melinda is this year's recipient of the GRCC Salute to Women Former Employee Award. As a counselor, Dr. Sapp soothes the anxieties of GRCC students and helped to ease the transition into higher education for people of diverse needs and experiences. As a GRCC adjunct psychology instructor, Melinda students benefit from her caring and skilled facilitation of their learning. Dr. Sapp is described as a woman with a passion for women, especially women in transition. She is concerned for the mental, emotional, and social health of women. Her goal is always to meet women where their needs are, hoping to empower in areas of self-esteem, sisterhood, and independence. Her nominator wrote, "She maintains her humor, ladylike character, and professionalism throughout her work as a licensed counselor, college professor, church ministry executive, national leadership in entertainment management, wife, mother, daughter, and colleague." Melinda relishes the relationship she builds with GRCC students and students in the community and the resultant satisfaction of watching the students build rapport with each other. Please accept our congratulations, Melinda. Melinda Prince Sapp, woman of faith and achievement. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Oliveras and Cynthia Springer. We appreciate this opportunity to stand before you. I was listening to that very long list of things that I do, and I was thinking, boy, I need a raise. And I'm wondering, who should I talk to about that? I have to first admit that when I came today, I wasn't prepared to give a speech, but as I sit and I look around so many women who have inspired and challenged me, I thought it was only appropriate that I share a few words. God has a great sense of humor. He has a way of weaving our lives and connecting a big circle, even when you're not aware of what he's doing. I remember that my first experience here at Grand Rapids Community College was an upward bound student. I was an inner city girl who was challenged by her mom that quitting was not an option and that I had to persevere, that I couldn't give up. And so any opportunity that was available to us, she made sure that we took advantage of that. So I started as an upward bound student. In fact, Dr. Oliveras, you weren't here. It was President Calkins, but I think we need to own my sister and I, who is here. Remember when that gate got broken by the upward bound bus when they crashed through the gate? I think I may have known who was driving that. I may know who was driving that vehicle, but I think that the statute of limitations has expired, and so it might be okay to own that right now. Not only did I come as an upward bound student, but I also came back to college here, and I was a Grand Rapids Community College job study student in the counseling department. And I'm just thinking, God, you're really setting up some great things for us. Went away to Western, graduated, came back, and was an intern in the counseling department. And after an intern, I was employed as a counselor, later became a psychology instructor. And I think about all the wonderful opportunities that Grand Rapids Community College offered me. It really is the foundation of the thing that I believe, the power of community. And I think about how poverty teaches you the power of community at a very, very, very early age. In fact, if you don't learn that power of community, then you kind of succumb to your circumstances. But I learned to look at everybody as an opportunity to learn more, to do more, to be better. And so if I stand here at all with any type of reward for being here, I'm here because of so many of you all who have been a blessing to me in my life. My mother, Mom, I don't know how you did it. I promised I wouldn't cry. But Mom, I don't know how a single mother who left her family in Mobile, Alabama with 5 children, how she came to the inner city of Grand Rapids and not one of us were ever incarcerated or none of us dropped out of school, but you made sure that we made it. And I don't know how such a beautiful woman of such gentle stature could put so much fear and 5 children. But Mom, I'm so thankful to you and to my family who is always, the power of community began. She taught us that as children, 5 children. She taught us if one of you fall, you all fall and help each other up. If one of you is tired, you all pick up the slack. And so you taught us to depend on each other. And because of that, I learned to depend on other people. And so to my natural family, I celebrate you today and thank you for everything that you are to us. And I have a bigger family now, the Lighthouse Full Life Center Church family. You all are incredible. Thank you all for being such a blessing in my life. The women of AKA, you started making a difference in my life before I became a soror, before I was even honored to call myself an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman. You made a difference. You helped me buy my first pair of basketball shoes. You kept me on the court and kept me out of trouble. And so, AKA, you have a legacy of helping women be their very best. Thank you. And to the Grand Rapids Community College family, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you allowing me to still be a part of this wonderful institution of learning. Thanks again for the award.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. And you can pick up your picture afterwards.
Thank you. You can keep that.
Thank you, Melinda. That was beautiful. And thank you, Mama. Five beautiful children. That's great. So now, with pleasure, I want to present to you Mary Adams Powers. Would you step up, Mary? Mary is the recipient of the Salute to Women GRCC Student Award. Mary embodies the leadership qualities outlined in the nomination criteria. She empowers and inspires other women and leads through innovation, strength, and risk-taking. As you know from reading Mary's biography, she turned the painful loss of her mother into an opportunity to educate and advocate for others. From her home, she founded the now statewide nonprofit organization, the Michigan Hepatitis C Foundation. I understand stereotyping of people, and it influences all of my passion and others who are unfairly categorized and cataloged, Mary has said. Her nominator says she is currently and will continue to be a woman to watch as she chooses the next steps in her journey. Another wrote, Mary is a role model for women who have faced seemingly unsurmountable obstacles in their lives. Mary's supportive letters from this nomination were significant in number, with one narrative concluding, in pursuit of education, she is adding academic qualifications to her personal ones. In whatever career plan she pursues, that will be an unstoppable combination, that's for sure. Congratulations, Mary, on the contributions you have already made in the lives of many people. Please accept the Salute to Women Award. Mary Adams Powers, a woman of spirit and determination. Mary. Yes, you may. You bet.
Yeah, 50-something. Thank you, Dr. Alvarez. Chris Arnold, my new friend Jennifer Smith, and the staff of the Bob and Alicia Woodward Diversity Center, what a wonderful job they have done organizing this event. Thank you. I'd like to thank the selection committee for honoring me with this award, and each friend, colleague, professor, classmate, and counselor for being here today. Each of you has had a significant impact on my life, personally and professionally. As I read over the letters of support, it was difficult for me to wrap my mind around the fact that each letter was describing me. They read more like the letters of support that I would write for each of you. There is a fine line of the emotion for me. On one hand, I am humbled in my self-esteem on the verge of embracing my accomplishments. On the other hand, I have not embraced the joy to the fullest. Being told I would never amount to anything has had significantly shaped my life's path. If you would only apply yourself, you are nothing but a gutter snipe. You don't have the brains God gave you. These messages were ingrained early on. Years of sexual abuse and domestic violence led to addictions that led me to a bottom. Beaten and battered within an inch of my life, I am humbled and grateful to be standing before you today. To my husband, Destry, the man who continues to love me when I am most unlovable, like right before an algebra test. Thank you for nominating me for this award. You are going to be a great physician's assistant. To one of my mentors and closest friends, Fritz, you called me on my pity pot. Each time I found an excuse for complacency. You listened patiently as I ran another grammar question by you, like automatopoeia. These are just a few of the ways you have been a part of my journey. Ann Holkebor, who believed in me long before I believed in myself. To the staff at First United Methodist Church, who support me with flexible hours, and the many volunteers who cover my job duties when I attend classes, I thank you all. Because of the countless millions of women who planned, organized, lectured, wrote, marched, petitioned, lobbied, paraded, and broke new ground in every field imaginable, our world is irrevocably changed. I cannot imagine experiencing the historic women's suffrage of the past. Susan B. Anthony, Rosa Parks, Elizabeth Stanton, to name a few. Over the past 7 generations, dramatic social and legal changes have been accepted that go unnoticed by people whose lives have utterly changed. Many people who have lived through the recent decades of the women's rights movement have come to casually accept what has transpired. I would imagine younger people, for the most part, can hardly believe life was ever otherwise. They take the changes completely in stride, as if life for women has always been this way. But it has not. The right to vote, property rights, entering professions such as medicine or law, participation in the affairs of the church. Women were robbed of their self-confidence and self-respect and made totally dependent on men. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. Have you lived through this? If not, can you imagine this? Change came about because women's organizations pushed legislation and court cases were won. Women band together to create grassroots projects that created battered women's shelters, rape crisis hotlines for victims of sexual abuse and domestic violence. They came together to develop child care centers so women could work outside their homes for pay. They came together to create equal access to education programs in the areas of doctors, lawyers, architects, and engineers. They came together to permit women to become great athletes. But many of the advances that women like myself achieved in the 60s and 70s were personal, the same issues we women face today, like getting husbands to help us with our housework and family meals, getting a long-deserved promotion at work, gaining financial and emotional strength to leave an abusive partner. There was a time women had no means to gain an education, since no college or university would accept women students. I stand before you today 5 credits from my 20-year journey to my associate's degree. Oh. We've accomplished so much, yet much still remains to be done. Women today are the living legacy of the women's rights won against staggering odds in a revolution without violence. I salute the women of the past, the girls and women of today, and proudly salute the created heroes of the future. I want you to know that the women that came before me have taught me this. Life will teach us lessons, and that we will repeat the lesson until it is learned. Here are a few of mine. Adoption. The lesson, only God can fill the void. Fishing and hunting with my father. The lesson, serenity. Spreading fertilizer, pruning trees, and picking cherries on the family farm. The lesson, you reap what you sow. Shopping with my mother. The lesson, you can't buy love. Math class. The lesson, use it or lose it. Homecoming queen. The lesson, love everyone. Sports. The lesson, you win some, you lose some. Girl Scouts and church camp. The lesson, make new friends but keep the old. Marriage. The lesson, to thine own self be true. Domestic violence. The lesson, mean people suck. Divorce. The lesson, sometimes you just have to leap and build your wings on the way down. Single parent. The lesson, how to make macaroni and cheese with water. Empty nest. The lesson, how to be my own wardrobe consultant. No college degree. The lesson, the have and the have-nots. Alcoholism. The lesson, one day at a time. Chemotherapy. The lesson, take the good with the bad. Church. The lesson, family is not defined by bloodlines. Say it. Founding a nonprofit agency. The lesson, patience is a virtue. Losing both parents back to back. The lesson, there's no place like home. Near fatal car accident. The lesson, if I only had a brain. Dating. The lesson, things that make you go, Spouse. The lesson, God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Non-traditional student. The lesson, think outside the box. Earning a competitive wage without an MSW, a PhD, or a BMW. The lesson, potential employers may not understand that sometimes the wounded are the best healers. Receiving this award, the lesson, priceless. Thank you.
We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. Look over there. Mary is the reason we are so proud to serve so many students here at GRCC. Isn't she an example? Thank you. Our final recipient of the day is Diane Gilliam. Would you come forward, Diane? Diane is receiving the Salute to Women Alumna Award. As you have read in her biography, Diane is a woman who pursued and continues to pursue an educational pathway to achievement and service. She embodies the characteristics of the very students we love to reach at GRCC. She credits her experience at the college with her newfound belief in herself and in the possibilities of life. Diane moved from a place of wondering whether she would complete an anatomy class to graduation from GRCC in the Occupational Therapy Assisting Program and the completion of a bachelor's degree in management. She has begun a journey of accepting greater and more varied responsibilities in her work at the Maple Creek Retirement Community. It is immediately apparent when talking with Diane that her work is rewarding because it is a reflection of her respect and deep compassion for the seniors within her working sphere. Diane is a professional, and we are proud that she is also a GRCC alumna. Congratulations, Diane. It gives me great pleasure to give you this award in honor of your contributions to the college and community. Diane Gilliam, a woman of compassion and strength. Congratulations.
Thank you so much to all of you. And I'm just going to ask my coworker to come closer. Come closer, please, Lisa. Thank you again. She doesn't listen to me at work either. She doesn't. Thanks. Yeah. During my interview with Christina, she asked me, and I wasn't going to cry either, but you girls started it, but she asked me, tell me about yourself. What got you where you are today? And I have to say, without God in my life, I wouldn't be standing here today. No way, no how. God does have a sense of humor, and I'll explain that in just a few minutes, but I give all the honor and glory to my Maker. I also just have to give a big thank you to my family and to my friends that came today, and my coworker Lisa, to Karen, Alice. They were my instructors at Grand Rapids Community College, and I have to say JC because that's what it was then. But also I have to give a big thank you to my mother, who was an inspiration in my life, because my mother, who is deceased and would be so proud, in her 40s decided to return to school. And I didn't know how she was going to do it, but she did. She made a way. She returned to college and became a teacher. And at that time, I was married, and I never took any classes to prepare me for college because I always felt that I couldn't. I wasn't smart enough. I'd never be able to succeed in college. I don't know where those thoughts came from, but they were implanted in me, I think, in a young age. And I just knew I wouldn't be able to do it. But somewhere along the line, after watching my mother, I realized if she could do it in her 40s, maybe, just maybe I could too. So I started the journey too, and I came to Grand Rapids Community College. And like I said, at that time it was JC. And I started the occupational therapy assisting program and did finish. And Alice Donahue was my instructor at the time, and she knew my life. She knew I had children. She knew I had an aging father and a grandmother that I was taking care of. She knew all of that, but she wouldn't cut me any slack. She knew I would come to class and I would tell her what was going on, and she was firm with me. Made me realize that I had more inside of me than what I knew. And then I remember there was a time my daughter and my son pushed me along too. My daughters and my son pushed me along when I was in college after I finished community college and decided to go to Cornerstone. And I said to my son one day when he came in late, and I don't know why he came in so late, but it was, and I was up studying, having a very difficult time with an accounting class. And I was sitting at the dining room table and I was crying and crying, which I did a lot through anatomy and many other classes. But I was crying and I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't get the numbers to come out. And he came in and he said, "Ma, what's the matter?" And I said, "I can't get it. This accounting class doesn't make sense. I just can't get it." And unfortunately, he wasn't able to come today because he is working. And he said to me, because he's a wise child, always has been wise, full of wisdom and always full of love. And he said, "You don't get it?" I said, "No." And he said, "Well, go to bed." So I went to bed. Go to bed. And my daughter, once I had to write a paper. This is after I started Cornerstone, and I had to write a paper, and I thought, well, I helped her through college. Surely she's going to help me. And I came in and one day and I said, I got to write a paper, and this is the topic, and I want you to help me. She was watching TV I did something. I came back and I said, "Are we ready to get started?" And she said, "No, you do it yourself." And I said, "Well, I'll show you. I'll do it myself." And I did. And so it was like, well, it's a good thing she didn't help me because I did it myself. But after that, at that point, I was working as an activity director at another retirement community. And this is where God's humor comes in. I also was asked, well, what got you where you are today? Why are you doing the job that you do today? And my daughter, my oldest daughter, years ago, we were on 28th Street going east at Clyde Park and 28th, and my car stopped. It just stopped, dead, at a light, wouldn't go. And I didn't know anything about cars other than put gas in it, and I know I had gas in it, and no one would help me. No one would stop to help me, and the cars just continued to pass. I was on the right side, the cars were on the left, they continued to pass, and I thought to myself, if someone would just stop and help me and push me out of the way, at least I wouldn't back up the traffic. No sooner than I said that, a car stopped right beside me. I was here, the other car was here. And it stopped right beside me, and it did stop the traffic. And I thought, well, good, somebody's going to push me out. And they did. They pushed me out of the 28th Street onto a gas station. And I just sat there, and the car pulled beside me, the person that stopped pulled beside me. And an older gentleman got out of the car. And at that time, I was young. My daughter was very young. He got out of the car, and I looked at him. I need to back up just a moment. When we were younger, my grandparents lived with us. And at that time, we learned to respect older people. That was just something that we were taught, and it was ingrained in us to respect older people. So when he got out of the car, I looked at him, and I didn't say anything, but I said to myself, he's so old. He'll never, never be able to help me because he's just too old. And he got out of the car, he came over to the side of my car, and he said, "Pop the hood." And I thought, in the car with him was another lady that never looked at me. She just looked straight ahead. She just kept looking. And I looked at her, and I thought that was kind of strange. But he said, "Pop the hood." And I did it, and I thought, gosh, he's so old. He doesn't even know, what is he going to do? So he walked to the side of my car after the hood was up, and he put both hands on the side of the car, and he shook it like that. And then he walked back to his car, and he said, "Start it up." And I did, and it started. And I thought that was the strangest thing, that my car, it would just start. But the part that was fascinating is the car started, but the gentleman got back in his car, he and his wife, and I turned to wave to them, to tell them goodbye and to tell them thank you, and they were not there. I believe God sent an angel. And at that time, I had no idea that I was going to work with older people, but I think that that gentleman deposited in me the compassion and love that I have for seniors. Because when I was younger, my grandmother, like I said, she lived with us. My grandmother took me with her to a nursing home to visit someone. Don't remember who it was. I don't even remember the nursing home. The only thing that I remember is that it felt cold, it felt dark, it felt drab, and the people there sat in a row, hands tied, crying out, reaching to you. And I remember leaving that place, and I said, I will never, ever walk into another nursing home again because it's horrible. And my grandmother made me promise something that I couldn't keep. She said, "Whatever you do, don't put me in a nursing home." And I promised as a young child I never do that. But not knowing, as she got older, things got out of hand, and I couldn't do anything but place her in a nursing home. My family and I, we worked so hard to keep her out. Along with my father, we worked so hard. So when that deposit was made in me, I didn't know the struggles that my family and I were going to have to keep our grandmother and to keep our father from going in a nursing home. It didn't work. And I felt I'll never go back in at that time. But like I said, God has a sense of humor, and He has another plan for your life. So He had placed inside of me that love. And when I finished school, I made up in my mind that there are changes that need to happen in nursing homes. And He placed me in it, and it is the love of my life. I absolutely, positively love it. So I know God, along with my mother, are having a good laugh at this person that says she will never go into a nursing home. Never. But I love it. And I just thank all of you so much. I thank my family for coming out and supporting me. They supported me when I was in school. I remember calling my brother several times when I was taking algebra, and he would say, Diane, just follow the formula. It was too complicated, but you're making it hard. Just follow the formula. I call my sister when I'd give up, and I say, I can't do this. And she said, keep doing it. You'll make it. And I knew because I watched my mother, and she did in her 40s, and I was in my 40s, and even past that, I said, I can do this. So I thank you all. I thank you for nominating me. I thank the college. This college is always going to be special to my heart. Come back every year to see the new students. And I just thank you all. Thank God, and I thank you all for this nomination.
Thank you, Diane. Another wonderful example of our students. What do you think? And thank you to all of these women that we're honoring and for their risk-taking and also for making history in their own way. Thank you. Let's give them all a hand. One more time. And again, these women are examples of all of the wonderful women that we have at GRCC or that have gone through JC or CC. And you can call it JC anytime. And now it is my pleasure. Well, before I do that, I want to introduce to you board members, Board of Trustee members from the college who I see in the audience who came to also celebrate. I know that Margot Anderson, there's Margot. Give her a hand. Miss Ellen James, who's also in the back. I see Mr. Rick Verberg over here. And I believe that's it. I don't think I don't want to miss anybody. And now it is my pleasure to have someone else come up to the podium for a few minutes, and I would like to introduce to you the Associate Vice President for College Advancement, Dr. Andy Bown. Andy?
Good afternoon. To our 4 honorees, congratulations. You are examples for all of us, men and women alike. I think back to November of 2006 and election time, and at that time, Proposal 2 passed. And as also the director of the foundation, I really started to question, how is that going to impact our ability to provide scholarships, specifically scholarships based on gender and scholarships based on race? And on that day in November, the law changed and said, well, I don't know. And I am very pleased after some time of reflection and legal analysis and all of that, we can continue to honor women with scholarships. The Salute to Women Scholarship is funded privately And because you and many others give to the scholarship fund, we can continue to recognize women as leaders in our college and across the community. Each year we give out about 30 scholarships based on gender or race, and 2 of those are the Salute to Women scholarships. We're proud to award these scholarships, and we would love to offer more in the future, and you could help with that. I'm a foundation person at heart. So if there's interest at any time in supporting this scholarship fund or any scholarship or supporting the needs of the college, we are so grateful. To the 4 of you, once again, congratulations. To those of you who support us as a college and a foundation, thank you. Chris?
Wow, how about another round of our applause for our wonderful women? Thank you all again for being here, and just a couple housekeeping items. For those of you who park below, the parking gate is up, and if you parked in the ramp across the street, we do have a few parking passes. The cake is now cut, so please help yourself to cake and refreshments. And please pick up a nomination form, and if there's a remarkable woman in your life that you would like to nominate, please submit that. And thank you all for being here.